Hello, today is Wednesday, February 1st, 2023. I'm Joe Schmidt from TC2, and this is Staying Connected. Fixed wireless access, or FWA, has attracted a lot of attention from residential and commercial users recently, and for good reason. Because wireless broadband speeds have gotten faster, latency has reduced, and reliability has gotten better, wireless broadband is becoming a viable alternative to wired last-mile connections to the internet. At LB3 and TC2, we believe this trend will continue in 2023, and that's why we wrote about it in the piece, What to Expect in 2023, that we posted on our websites. Let's look closer at FWA. I'm joined by Kevin DiLallo, a senior partner at LB3, and one of the authors of that write-up I just mentioned, and my fellow TC2 Director Keith Cook. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. So, Kevin, what makes fixed wireless access unique?
Hey Joe, good to be with you again. What makes FWA unique is that it uses licensed cellular spectrum, but it's a fixed, not mobile application between 2 points, the customer's premises and a carrier POP, which might or might not be a cell site in the usual sense of the word. Unlike wired connections, fixed wireless access can be installed without digging up streets or sidewalks, so installation and construction costs are a fraction of those associated with wired connections. And to paraphrase Star Trek, fixed wireless access can go where no wired connection has gone before, meaning to less populous areas that are prohibitively expensive to reach with cable or fiber.
Hello, gentlemen. Let me add this. Although fixed wireless services have been around for years, they have relied on older technologies such as LTE that don't really have the speed or performance to compete with fiber. While the sub-5G speeds have historically been satisfactory for consumers, they just weren't quite suitable for enterprise applications. But 5G has changed the competitive landscape for sure. In fact, last year, Forbes magazine called 5G FWA transformative. And it said it's the most significant competitor to broadband internet brought to the home or business via any wired last-mile access technology. According to Forbes, in 2022, 7 million U.S. households were using some form of FWA, and it's projected that 10% of U.S. residential broadband connections will soon be provided via fixed wireless, and half the number of fiber connections.
Wow, Keith, those are really some sizable numbers. So, Kevin, is FWA ready for enterprises?
Yes and no, Joe. The major wireless providers and dozens of medium-sized and small providers are marketing FWA to larger enterprises for dedicated internet access, broadband, and data backup or redundancy. According to Deloitte, many of the major wireless carriers around the world see fixed wireless access as the killer app for 5G. But remember, true 5G is still pretty scarce, certainly outside urban areas. We see large enterprises installing fixed wireless access as a replacement for decommissioned TDM lines that they've used for low-speed data applications such as alarm monitoring, surveillance cameras, and so forth. And some leading educational institutions are installing fixed wireless access to provide broadband internet access on campus to students and faculty. Howard University here in Washington is one of those.
Hey, Kevin, I've seen an increasing number of clients using wireless as an access technology to augment MPLS, dedicated internet, and broadband as part of their SD-WAN deployments.
Yes, FWA is also a competitive access method for SD-WAN. As 5G is becoming more available, FWA is becoming more reliable. 5G fixed wireless is, now in many cases, a legitimate choice for the second connection in an SD-WAN solution that involves MPLS and broadband internet. In a recent competitive sourcing event that I managed, T-Mobile provided broad coverage and very competitive pricing. Now that coverage is still mostly limited to densely populated areas, as Kevin said, but that's true for most all the providers.
Yeah, and where it is available, and the 5G coverage map is constantly expanding, fixed wireless access offers the enterprise telecom buyer several advantages, particularly compared to wired connections. The costs of installing and deploying fixed wireless access are far lower than those for wired connections. Depending on your tolerance for sub-5G speeds, fixed wireless access offers vastly more ubiquity than wired connections. Where 5G is available, speeds are competitive with, if not superior to, those that you find with wired access technologies. And latency is comparable as well. Because of the ease of installation and deployment, fixed wireless access solutions are scalable, and they're mobile in the sense that they can be relocated quickly and easily to other office locations at low cost and effort.
Hey, Kevin, I bet for applications that don't require high speed, FWA is ideal. I mean, I'm thinking the Internet of Things.
Yep.
Also, as legacy carriers like Verizon and AT&T hike the price of TDM connections to get customers to migrate to their IP services, the comparative value of FWA, I think, becomes pretty clear.
That's absolutely correct. And let me point out, Joe, enterprise customers who are considering fixed wireless access for some sites should not feel compelled to accept providers' standard terms and conditions or their off-the-shelf pricing, for that matter. Just like any other service, the standard rates and terms are just the starting point for discussions between the customer and the vendor. We advise our clients to keep their service terms short, for example, 12 months, or better yet, just insist on a month-to-month term, though that will undoubtedly affect your pricing and it might leave you vulnerable to unexpected changes in or maybe even disconnections of your service on short notice. Ask for unlimited data plans or at least large pools of data which could be shared as needed among different locations, and avoid data overages and the exorbitant costs associated with them.
Indeed. Your finance team will also want to at least consider leasing equipment as an alternative to buying it. And in terms of the radio access technology, we all know that 5G is best. But remember, there's a variety of flavors of 5G. Millimeter wavelength is better in urban areas, while midband or low bandwidth is usually better in more remote areas. So be sure to explore the pros and cons of each with both your technical experts and your supplier's account team. And finally, don't expect meaningful SLAs. FWA is, after all, still wireless, and the vendors have mastered the art of explaining why wireless services are inherently less reliable than a wired circuit. But we're hopeful this too will improve. While there's no SLAs yet, maybe you'll get SLOs if you're lucky.
Okay, thank you, Keith, and thank you as well, Kevin. As you can probably determine here, we at LB3 and TC2 are bullish on FWA, even though we do acknowledge it is still in its infancy for the enterprise market. If you would like to learn more about fixed wireless access, or you have other ICT needs, you can contact Kevin, Keith, me, or any of our LB3 and TC2 colleagues by giving us a call or dropping us an email. You can also stay current by subscribing to Staying Connected, by checking out our websites, and by following us on LinkedIn.